Hi everyone, welcome back to Permission to Pause, the podcast with me, Megan Hubbard. This is the podcast for moms like you to find ease, cultivate energy, and create habits that truly nourish you. In this episode 3, I had some other ideas I was actually planning on talking about for this week, but I was struggling to flesh out what I wanted to share. And even up to today, the day I want to record, trying to figure out what stories I want to tell or how I want to say it. And then this idea came to mind to talk about creating choice over change, and the ideas just started to flow. So I chose to lean into this topic today. This episode, my words are a little more off the cuff and less carefully outlined than the past couple of episodes, but I'm still very excited to share this tool and introducing this topic that I think is going to come up again and again in future episodes. As I have been doing, I'd like to start again with taking a deep breath with me wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And I invite you this time to do an ocean breath. So make a little noise with it. Just let it vibrate a little more up in your head. Thank you. The quote I want to share today, I did have to go digging for this one. If none comes to mind, I do a little internet search and find one that I love. And today really kind of gave me chills when I read it. It's attributed to Paul Tillich. He's an early 20th century German-American Christian philosopher. And he said, "Decision is rooted in the courage of being free." Ooh. That just really hit me in the center. Decision is rooted in the courage of being free. Reminds me a lot of my first episode of this freedom to choose and the empowerment that brings. So I'm excited to dive into this today. Early in my coaching certification, we started first with the health coach portion, and this was very near the beginning, where the materials made it a point to teach that in the coaching process, we were really focusing on creating choice more than on just creating change. I find choice very empowering concept, and the ability to make your own decisions, to look at options that are before you, to make a choice, and a lot of times to even know that you can change that in the future, but this is what you're going to act on now. In my first experience as a client in a coaching program, there was a written Ask a Coach portion of the program where you could write in, and within a couple of days, one of her hired coaches will have responded, and you could have a coaching conversation back and forth that was written. I don't remember what topic I was asking for coaching on in this style, but I do know that I was sharing something that I didn't like doing, but I knew it was important. So I wished I wanted to do it more because I want to do what I think is important. I think I should do it. I wished it felt easier. It was that kind of an idea that I was sharing with this coach. And the response that I got from her was really impactful. This was probably 4 years ago, or almost 4 years ago, and it's still something that comes up. It's still a tool I use, and I love teaching it. I can sometimes do it in my head and just think through it. Other times, and most of the time, I prefer to write through it when I have a moment to journal about it, especially if it's a topic that keeps coming up or if I couldn't work it out just in my head. If it feels like it's a bigger decision, I like to write it down when I get a chance. So for this example, as I go through the 4 steps, I will use the situation of making dinner for my family and having family dinner at the table, or at least all together. So step 1 is identifying where you're saying I should do X, Y, or Z. And this can be coming from yourself, from how you have interpreted some instruction or how you have seen things done and think that that is the best way to do it, or it can also just come from somebody else, something that they told you that you should do. So what in this situation are you thinking that you should do, that it's the best or only option? So for this example of dinner, I should have a homemade dinner every day, not repeat too many things, make sure there's something everybody likes, bring everyone to the table, and no later than 6 p.m. So there's kind of a lot of shoulds there, but there's an example. Now we can go into step 2, which is the I could do's. And when you're doing this, what I invite you to do is to think of or write down anything that comes to mind, no matter how odd it seems, or if you are thinking in the moment, I would never do that. Just write it down. Just get a list of what you can identify as any kind of option, no matter how out there or what. So for making sure that my family has a homemade dinner most nights of the week, I could ask my neighbor to double whatever she's making for her family and bring over some for my family. I could even offer to pay her for that. Why not? I could just decide not to do a homemade dinner and we could eat out every night. I could choose not to cook and we have cereal every night. I could choose to make dinner every single night, no matter how I felt about it. I could get a meal planning service that just sends me the ingredients and I have a short list to choose from, decreases my decision fatigue. I could tell my husband he's in charge of dinner now every night. I could tell my kids if they want to eat a hot meal, then they cook it. Or they tell me what they want and I cook it. So you get the idea. Now, at the end, you can definitely ignore or cross off the things that you would never do. If I live close to my brother who loves to cook, I might ask him to double it and I would pay for part of his groceries or pay per meal or something. But right now, I've never had a neighbor that I felt like that was really an option to just say, hey, whatever you're cooking, would you want to double it and I'll pay you this or that? That's not really an option. I also have never wanted to choose the option to eat out every meal. But I know that it's a choice. So there I have my list of options. Now you go to step 3. What do I want to do? And again here, I invite you to also have little judgment as you're writing down what you want to do. Just write out what first comes to mind. And I don't know if you can hear my dog barking in the background, but he is. So sorry, hopefully that can be pretty quiet. Okay, so step 3, what do I want to do? And you can pull here. A lot of this will probably come from your list of what you could do, right? But you're getting deeper and a little closer to your why by identifying what you want. And also that we're not here on this step, you're not actually choosing yet what you will do, just what you want. So some things that I do want my family to be eating, as many of us are together, to be eating together at the table. I do want us to have most nights a balanced meal with vegetables and some protein and some grains. I do want to not cook every single night though. I do want to include my children in cooking. I do want to ask my husband to do some of the cooking. And so there is my list of some things that I want. Now, how can I look at all my options from what I could do and take what I want to do and now move into step 4, what will I do? So I'm moving from what I should do, what I could do, what I want to do, to this empowered choice of what I will do. And I see this as bringing step 2 and step 3 together, could do and want to do, into this empowered choice. For me, what I am choosing to do right now, in the past I have done a meal plan service where they mail me things. I have done a service where they also just provide a menu and I do all the grocery shopping and cooking, but that helped reduce some decision fatigue. We have gone through a period of time where my husband did pretty much all of the meals. But right now, what I will do is cook 3 nights a week. And what I will do is 1 or 2 of those meals will be planned to have enough for leftovers. What I will do is take my kids out to Costco on Tuesday nights when we are running around doing most of our errands and music lessons. And that night is a little less balanced, but I'm leaning more into I do not want to cook every night. And, sometimes when I am wanting more of the balance, I make the choice to bring some baby carrots and cut up apples, or make a smoothie and make some popsicles earlier in the day, so when we get back in the evening after eating our Costco pizza and hot dogs, we have berry and spinach and yogurt smoothie popsicles for them to eat, because they do enjoy that. So I will cook 3 nights a week. I will make sure there are leftovers for some of those. I will eat out some meals. Friday also is date night, and we get the kids a pizza, and Luke and I go out. And I will ask my husband to do some of the meals. I am primarily in charge of meals Monday through Friday. He does Saturday and Sunday. And I will invite my children to be part of the cooking. Right now, especially my teenagers, they have extracurricular activities after school that make it challenging most nights for them to be a part of the prep time, especially if I'm prepping some things while they're at school. So more of that comes during the summer, but as much as I can during the week or on the weekends, I invite them even just to cut up the lettuce or cut an onion or boil the noodles for spaghetti, to take at least some part in it, because that's important to me for them to be learning some of those skills. So here we've gone through the 4 steps. I should do, I could do, I want to do, I will do. I find that this brings me to a very empowered decision, because you know you have other options and you still chose this, and you know why, and that it has something to do with what you want. I have also applied this to my volunteer service in my church community, where we, especially locally, are asked to be a part of maybe planning activities for the teenagers, or teaching a child Sunday school class or an adult Sunday school class, or being in charge of our bigger activities that we come together as families. Or I have also been a pianist or an organist for our congregational hymns and been more part of the music. So these things vary, and we switch them up every couple of years, but some of them have been very easy for me and some of them have been very challenging. Especially, I will say, for me, the ones that involve planning activities, that stretches me in my skills and my comfort zone. So I've applied this here in times when it's been very challenging, and I've recognized that I could ask to not do that. I could say, I don't want to, and I would like to step down. I have always so far come to the conclusion that I would like to stay, that I will allow myself to be stretched, that I will allow myself to make mistakes, that I will certainly ask for help from others that I know have that strength, and invite them to help me grow on my own in this area. So I also have gone through this process with that, and I asked for coaching on that from my coach and came to the statement of, I joyfully and willingly choose to serve in this community. And I was grateful for this process again, to come to that empowered choice, because even when it's hard, even when it's stretching me, even when it's not something that I naturally enjoy, I can enjoy that I chose it. I can enjoy what I'm learning from it, and I can find joy and strength in being with these people and doing what I said I would do. And I also want to say that if you want, you can take this one step further. Once you get to that step 4 of what I will do, if you're still feeling like you need a little more of a why that pulls you when you don't have the oomph to push yourself, you can do this step of asking about 7 times, even, to get deeper and deeper and deeper, asking why, or what's important about that to me, over and over again, to get to this phrase that I love, the why that makes you cry, or, like I was saying, that why that pulls you forward when you don't have that oomph to push yourself. This doesn't necessarily give you the caffeine pill to take the action or the decision, but it does, in its own way, give you energy. It gives you empowered energy to take purposeful, aligned action, to say, I can do this, I choose to do this, I will do this. And I love, like I was saying with my last example, to not do it alone. You can still be asking for help and support to reach what you have chosen as your goal or as your purpose. So if I were to go deeper in the whys on having this most nights of the week home-cooked meal for my family, whether it's me or someone else who's cooking, I could say, I want to, most nights of the week, have a meal that was cooked at home and eaten at the table. Why? Because I have read and heard scientific evidence that this is really good for kids as they're growing, and for families, for them to feel like they have an anchor and good connections at home. What's really important about that to me? It's really important that I provide that space for my children, that I provide that foundation for them. Why? Because that's what I feel like I had growing up, and I would like to provide that to them as well. Why? Because this is one way that I show them that I love them, by doing what I think is really good for them, and it's one way that I show them I love them. Why? Because I know that it's important. It's important to me to do more than just tell them I love them, but to show them I love them in ways that I think are meaningful and powerful. So you can see, as I ask why, or what's important about that to me, is it just really strengthens my choice here. And so even on those days when I need to leave for work sooner than they would have dinner, but I did already make spaghetti sauce, and I've asked a teenager to cook the noodles, and I know that they'll have a good meal even if we're not all together. So it helps me to pull from what I really want and my why, and provide an experience that I think and hope is meaningful for them. And sometimes there are still bare minimums. Maybe I said I was going to cook tacos, but I ended up doing scrambled eggs and toast and apples instead, or even cereal, because my why has to do with having something to eat around the table together rather than a specific meal. So here is our recap. And I've said this over and over again throughout here, but I'm going to say it again right here before we end this 4-step process. If you are starting with, and you notice that you have been shoulding on yourself, I should do this, I should do that, because so-and-so has told me, or because that's what I've seen and I think it's the best. If you're using that word should, and it's feeling like a struggle, you're feeling a lot of resistance and not much joy, and you just feel like you're dragging, go through this process. Start with what you're thinking I should do. Next, identify any, no matter how strange it sounds when you're first listening through it, any options of what you could do. Even quitting is one of them. Then identify what you want to do and bring it all together in the end. Choose powerfully what you will do. And if you want to, take it deeper and ask why. Why is that important to me? What's really important about that to me? Why? Up to 7 times to get that deeper. Thank you for listening with me through this today. I hope that this was really helpful and something that you can use over and over again, that you feel is very practical for you. And if you know a mom who feels really bogged down by all the things she's thinking she has to or should do, and you think that this could help, would you share this episode with her too? That would mean so much to me. I sat down to record this episode after eating my lunch. I feel very satisfied. I feel very energized and was ready to share this with you. So I invite you, no matter where you are in your day today or looking forward to tomorrow, pause to eat lunch and make some new mistakes. That's always my invitation to you. I'll talk to you next week.